and I'll mention the name, the Rothschild family, which are the top banking families in the planet Earth. The Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the DuPonts, the Gettys. The Rothschilds know that their line goes back to Esau. Now remember, it was the international bankers that financed these different Bible destruction groups to help destroy the validity of the Bible. Why? So that information like this wouldn't be coming out. Alright? Matter of fact, let's prove that. Alright, let's go. I have a folder here. I'm going to minimize this. And I'm going to pull up this folder, and I'm going to show you that the international bankers know, in particular the Rothschilds, they know that their line goes back to Esau. Now this is called, let me get a zoom in on this. This is called the Master Plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. Alright? The Master Plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. Ron Patton interviews Marion Knox. Now who's Ron Patton? He's an insider. Right? Just put it to you plain. When you Google Ron Patton, you'll find out he's an insider. Alright? Insider meaning he's part of that Illuminati makeup. Alright? And so is this guy Marion Knox. So it's basically two Illuminati devils talking to each other. Well, let's dip into their conversation. Let's see what they're saying. Alright? Because you ain't gonna learn that from these stooges that are controlled by the Illuminati. You know, you got to go to the source, you know. So it says this is Ron Patton. It says, can you be more specific as to the role the Rothschilds play into all of this? This is Ron Patton asking Marion Knox this question. Well, most people who are into conspiracy know the Rothschilds are the most powerful family in the world. Alright? But you really don't hear about the details relating to how they have set themselves up to be king of the Jews and to usher in the Antichrist. It was the Rothschilds who financially backed the nation of Israel so they could eventually set up the throne for the Antichrist. Yeah, because they're trying to be us. Alright? These Rothschilds and the other international banking families, they're trying to be us. Alright? Basically. And yet, during World War II, their money and resources were used to kill millions of Jews, which they weren't Jews. They were nothing but Khazars. They were nothing but converts to our way of life. And they were calling themselves Jews. I'm talking about these so-called Jews. Let's skip down to here. Let me give you some background information. Now, this is Ron Patton talking to Marion Knox, right? Let me give you some background information. On one level, the Rothschilds secretly call themselves the House of David from the tribe of Judah. That's what they want to be. Alright? Now, Rothschild, translated from German to English, means red shield. That's what the word Rothschild means, red child. During biblical times, the Edomite fortress was the red rocks of Petra. You see, there's all this connotation with the word red. Alright? You go to Genesis 25 and 25, it says the first came out red. Alright? Esau, the twin brother of Jacob, was described as red and hairy. So this information fits perfectly with what survivors have been telling me. That on a deeper level, the Rothschilds are also claiming to be descendants of Esau, and thus are really from the house or tribe of Esau. What they are trying to do is to get the birthright back, and that's what it's been about with this so-called New World Order, right? That they're trying to create since 1492 with the so-called Jew Christopher Columbus. That New World Order is an attempt for them to try to get back their birthright, all right, which is to rule the planet Earth, which is the birthright that we're going to get when we enter into the kingdom of heaven. In the kingdom of heaven, we're going to rule the whole planet Earth in righteousness. So it says basically these bankers, beginning with the Rothschilds, which the Rothschilds emerge as the most powerful banking family out of Esau, out of the so-called white man. That's why they're the head. What they're trying to do is to get the birthright back from the house of Jacob, who are the real Jews. That's why they put so much hell on us, the so-called white man. Of all the dark-skinned races on the planet Earth, who did the so-called white man put the most hell on? The so-called Negro, the so-called black man. Why? Because he is the real Jews, or they are the real Jews, and Esau knows this. The so-called white man knows this. All right. However, the book of Obadiah talks about the destruction of the Edomites in the last days. So now you can see why. Let's go back to the Apocrypha. All right. Now you can see why this information here for Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Now you can see why this information had to be taken out of the Bible, because these elites, beginning with the Rothschilds, they know that they are Esau. And I just showed it to you in this document called the Master Plan of the Illuminated Rothschilds. That's their master plan, which part of their master plan was also to try to destroy the validity of the Bible. Alright? So that's one scripture. Alright, let's go back to the Apocrypha. That's one scripture that proves why the Bible, or why the Apocrypha was taken out of the Bible. For Esau is the end of the world. In other words, how are you going to know the end of the world? When Esau comes into power and when he is taken down. For Esau is the end of the world and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. So before we go, alright, because I just wanted to bring that scripture out. There's other videos I'm going to make focusing on the Apocrypha and why it was taken out, but this is one of the scriptures why I believe it was taken out. Alright, 2nd Ezra 6:7-9. Now the two others that I have written down is 2nd Ezra 13:40-46, which describes about the 10 tribes coming over here to the Western Hemisphere. Alright, I believe that's another reason why they had to take that out. And also 1st Maccabees, the 1st chapter, the 1st verse and the 9th verse, which speaks about Alexander the Creep coming into power. And it also says that when Alexander came into power, that's when wickedness was sown into the planet Earth. So basically, according to 1st Maccabees 1:9, it's basically telling you when the white man came into power, the so-called white man came into power underneath Alexander, that's when wickedness was sown in the earth. So what is it essentially calling the so-called white man? The wicked. So you know they couldn't have that information out there. But anyway, this has been Elder Gabar, and the name of the show is Open Up Your Eyes, or Open Your Eyes rather, and I say shalom.